CNN had a tremendous story about the drug war, and I really give them a lot of credit for doing a report on this. It's been a while since I've given CNN credit for anything. So let's listen to what happened in Philadelphia to a family house after a young kid was found with $40 worth of heroin.
I built this house with my own hands. I'm a working guy. I work every day, 6 days a week, 7 days if I have to.
For 8 years, Christos Sorvelis, who built his own painting business,
I built the oven for pizza and barbecue.
Has also been toiling away on his family's dream house in the suburbs of Philadelphia.
I was so upset thinking somebody's going to come over and take my house for nothing. That makes me crazy.
Without warning, Sorvelis says Philadelphia police and prosecutors seized his house.
I was going nuts. So what do you mean?
He and his wife, Markella, have never been charged with a crime or even accused of any wrongdoing.
It was horrible, horrible.
And the nightmare began in March when police showed up at the house.
By the time I got to the door, they had already opened the door with his hands in and had a gun to my dog's head.
Police arrested their 22-year-old son, Yanni, on drug charges, $40 worth of heroin, and claim he was selling drugs out of the home.
I didn't know what he was doing. I'm not with him 24 hours a day.
A month and a half later,
they said that we're going to seize your house.
They came back.
They had a sledgehammer. We're going to break down your walls. We're going to break your pipes. This house is going to be ours. And as he was explaining to me what was going on, there was people closing the doors with screws, locking them. They had the electric company here to turn off my electric, my gas.
Police and prosecutors came armed with a lawsuit against the house itself. It was being forfeited and transferred to the custody of the Philadelphia district attorney, all because of their son's first offense drug charges. Yanni pleaded no contest.
It was scary. It was frustrating.
I said, listen, this house belongs to me. Nothing to do with my son.
But that didn't matter. Police and prosecutors kicked them and their children out that day.
This story is incredible. I mean, this is an aspect of the drug war I didn't even know existed. Okay, it's probably impossible to find anybody who covers politics and reads about politics as much as I do. Okay, I mean, I'm all into the nooks and crannies. I'm reading articles 6 pages in on a website nobody's had and a story nobody's reading. Okay, but even I had no clue that the government had the authority and the ability to do this. I mean, that's unbelievable. We're talking about a house being seized by the government because the son of the guy who owns the house, had $40 in heroin? Who the fuck knew? Who knew they could just take your house if that happened? Who knew they could do that? And also, another aspect of this, which pisses me off to no end, that family, that guy, based off everything we see here, he is the American dream. That entire family, they're living the American dream in the sense that a guy who owns his own business, it's a painting business. He busted his ass. He says he works 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, really long hours. He said he built his house from the ground up, and that's a gorgeous fucking house. Talking about, oh yeah, I built this thing outside, the barbecue there, the pizza oven there, lovely backyard, pristine condition. You can tell he cuts the lawn and he cares deeply about his property and his family, right? And his dogs are running around and shit, having fun. That's the American dream right there. Middle class, busted your ass, worked your way up, own your own business, and what happened? The government said, oh, your son did $40 worth of drugs. We're going to take away your house now. Everything you worked for in your entire life, busted your ass for, dedicated all your time and effort to, gone. We're just taking it away. So for all the conservatives who are screaming about Clive and Bundy, oh my God, big government tyranny coming to get us, man. No, that wasn't big government tyranny. That guy was refusing to pay fees that every other rancher paid. Every other rancher paid them because the cattle were grazing on federal lands. He's a welfare queen who didn't pay it, right? But what we're talking about here is actual big government tyranny. The government taking your house because of $40 worth of heroin? I mean, even if you go by an eye for an eye, which a lot of people think is too harsh nowadays, including probably me, then what? You would take $40 from the dad or the house or whatever. You owe us $40, son. You did $40 worth of drugs. Double it. I don't give a fuck. $80. Pay an $80 fine. Have them spend a night in jail and then come out. Whatever, dude. I wish drugs were legalized, but they're illegal right now. Okay, put the kid in jail for a little bit, make him pay a fine, have him do some community service, whatever. You're going to take their house? You're going to seize their house? But when you dive in a little deeper, it gets possibly nefarious. Quote, Philadelphia officials seized more than 1,000 houses, about 3,300 vehicles, and $44 million in cash, totaling $64 million in civil forfeitures. That's what the technical name of what they did is called. Over a 10-year period, according to the lawsuit, the very authorities taking the property appear to be profiting from it. According to Pennsylvania state records, the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office says about $7 million went straight to the salaries for the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office and the police department in just 3 years. In that same time period, records show the DA's office spent no money on community-based drug and crime-fighting programs. So, in other words, the government in Philadelphia, they're doing legal piracy. They're just saying, something, you may or may not have done something wrong a little bit, maybe not. But now we're just going to take your house. We're going to take your car. We're going to take your house. We're going to take your property. We're going to seize your cash. And, oh, yeah, for whatever reason, we're allowed to take that money and put it towards our salaries, which is an insane conflict of interest. You're legalizing the government to be criminals in their own right, and that's what's happening here. In this case, the protectors are the ones that have become the violators and have become the criminals. You can't do that. You can't set up a system where you profit off of other people's misery, because then you've set up an incentive for you to make other people miserable and for you to break the law. Well, you're telling me this isn't illegal? Oh, this is the most illegal thing I've ever heard of in my life. Over $40 worth of drugs, you seize a house? A house that looks like it's worth $600,000, if not more? No. What needs to happen right now is the federal government needs to step in, and they need to crack down on the Philadelphia government with everything. Throw the fucking book at them. Because this is ridiculous. Not only should they get their house back, they should get their house back plus damages, okay? They should be paid for the inconvenience of everything they had to go through. They should get hundreds of thousands, if not $1 million or so, as well as every other person who got their house seized for some bullshit, or their car seized for some bullshit, or their cash stolen for some bullshit. No, it's clear in this case that the Philadelphia government, they are the criminals. Having $40 worth of drugs, say what you want about it, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, you're not that big of a criminal. I don't think you're a criminal at all. But you are a criminal if you steal somebody's house over $40 worth of drugs.